Hello, these past 2 weeks I've gone back to rework the Lapis cluster starter decks. I've applied some parameters for deck building around them. They are as follows. They must use the ruler, must use at least 3 cards provided from the starter deck at any quantity of copies. Run a maximum of 2 colors allowed, and Lapis cluster only. That includes CFC, LEL, Vin3, and RDE. Here's the deck list. Starting off, we'll start with Mikage the Ruler. He has Judgment for 3 cost, 2 black, 1 void, and an energized token for black, and he also has an activate ability. This card deals 100 damage to target resonator. Put a blood counter on this card. Now, what we'll be doing is Judgment, and then we can use those counters to do several things like nerf target resonator by 100, or we can gain 200 attack on this card, or we can give another vampire resonator 100, or we can gain 200 life. He also has imperishable and flying. So the aspect of the deck is to control the board early through efficient removal and through tempo-oriented minions, and then come in for a possible OTK at the end with Mikage J Ruler. Now starting off, we start with Shara. Shara is a 500 for 1 who can't attack without at least a 1/1 counter on her. She has an activate ability to ping a resonator for 200 and then to put 2 1/1 counters on her. She's your optimal turn 1 play. Now we have a couple methods to stack 1/1 counters on her, which includes Servant of Mikage. We run 4 of him. Servant comes in and gives any resonator a 1/1 counter or 2 counters if the opponent has a special magic stone. He can stack these on himself or optionally put them in Shara. Next we have Nameless Mist. Play this to look at your opponent's hand and get rid of a non-resonated card. We're looking for a kill or cancel spell with this card. Mist can also stack a 1/1 counter on your resonators, but if you can land this on Shara, it's kind of best. Although I wouldn't save it only for her. You can put it on anyone really. Now going along with hand control, we also run Unending Hatred. You could run Scorn in this list, but we have so much resonator removal already. I kind of opted for Mists and Unending Hatred instead. Unending Hatred has 2 modes. You want to use this to look at your opponent's hand and remove anything you don't like. For example, if your opponent has a Shackles of Ice, you'll Nameless Mist it out, or you can grab it out with the Unending Hatred, or something with Barrier. That would be a good target for this as well, or anything that you might struggle with. It is worth to note that Unending Hatred has another special thing that you can remove the card from the game instead of placing it in the graveyard. Just remember that for later on. Moving on to our mid-range resonators, we have 4 Rinka. When Rinka deals damage, she gains a counter and gains precision as long as she has a counter on her. Additionally, you can remove a counter to gain flying. This is great for when you're looking to close out a game or to go over the top of blockers and get a good trade between resonators. Moving on to removal. Mikage Control is generally known for running many removal spells, and this deck is really no different. We have 4 Power Absorption, which specializes in 600 damage for 2. And synergizes with our resonators as well. At base power, it can kill a Melfi or an Abdul for 600, and then it can scale upwards. Like imagine if you had one of the 1-drop vampire resonators, it's suddenly dealing 700 for 2, and so on and so forth. Do note that this card additionally can target J-Rulers and resonators, so if your opponent is playing a J-Ruler centered deck, you want to land this on the J-Ruler. Mikage's ping is pretty valuable, and we'd like to introduce some cards that synergize with that. Firstly, we have Tarot. You can activate a ping on a resonator you want to kill, and then summon Tarot to destroy a resonator that is damaged. The second automatic ability isn't applicable to this deck, but it does force a shuffle when he dies. When this card enters your field, destroy target damaged resonator. So you really want to ping something maybe before recovery and then recover, and then play your tarot. We have the same ability to destroy a damaged resonator attached to a Quickcast chant as well, Demon Flame. You want to use the same method as Tarot, but the advantage is that it can be in your opponent's turn. So if your opponent has a resonator they're attacking with, you can ping it with Mikage, and then Demon Flame chasing the resolution of the ping. Beware that the Shackles of Ice does exist, released in the same set as Mikage himself, and unfortunately in black and red we don't have the necessary tools to deal with it once it's on the board, so that's why we want to Nameless Miss it out, or Unending Hatred it out of the opponent's hand. But this is why we only run Tarot at 2, and then we have removal tools outside of Demon Flame. Following the zoo-like nature of the Resonator lineup, Secret Messenger of the Mikage was a good pickup for the list. This guy comes in and nukes a Resonator for 400, multiplied by the number of vampires you control. Removal plus a body on the field is what we're after here, and it scales pretty nicely. He counts himself when his enter ability resolves, so if you have just one of your other one-drop vampires on the board, suddenly you nuke for 800. It's a really good value. Another note to make is that any resonator damaged by him is also removed from the game. That's a good thing to remember. Now the final spell that we have is Swirling Demon Dimensions. This is a quick cast to remove target resonator from the game, pretty self-explanatory. The final threat to the deck is Blazer. We run this at 2 copies but could afford to go to 3. Blazer has swiftness and flying for 4 cost. At the end of the turn you need to place one of the removed cards from the game of your opponents back under the deck. If you don't, Blazer dies. That's kind of okay because he has an activate ability for 2 fire, 2 darkness and 2 void to place him back into your field from your graveyard. This is the reason why we run a few remove from game mechanics in our deck to leech more value from Blazer. So we have Swirling Demon Dimension, Unending Hatred, so on. Mikage is a potent late game threat and has the tools to get there. Your zoo-like resonators are cheap and your removal is potent. And once Mikage collects some counters, your lethal range can be quite large. This is where Sprinting Flame of the Horse is pretty incredible. And we're going to run 3 of those. We want to Judgment, come in with Mikage, and we'll land the Inheritance ability onto him. We'll declare attack, and once the opponent declares no block, we'll activate his ability to spend all the counters and buff his own attack. This is a safe play if your opponent has tapped down and has no flying blockers. Additionally, you can land a kill spell, like Swirling Demon Dimensions, on a blocker. If you do manage to get to 15 counters, this should be enough to damage an opponent from 4,000 life. Quite potent if you have 15 counters on him. To help push damage, we run 1 Blood of the Mikage. Unfortunately, this card isn't quick cast, but it still adds 800 to your lethal range. This is safe to cast on your J-Rule as he has Imperishable, or cast it on a Blazer if you pay to summon from your graveyard. Typically, black and red lack a bit of card draw, but this is where you lean on your ruler and Blazer and their ability to keep coming back. Pushing Mikage into the zoo archetype means you can do better than a typical 1-for-1, as many control decks like to do with their 20-something kill spells. Additionally, you want to spend all of your unused stones before recovery with his activate ability, just to generate your counters. If your opponent didn't play anything, you can even ping your own guys at the end of your opponent's turn just to collect counters. So let's say that we have a messenger on there. At the end of my opponent's turn, they didn't do anything. I'm just going to activate my ability 3 times and ping my own guy 3 times. So then at the start of my turn, they'll recover and I'll still get my 3 counters. Moving on to stones, we run 4 black, red stones, and the rest are basic stones. The purpose here is that your red spells are only mid to late game, and the black cards are mostly double black, like your Taras and Rinkas are double black. There is no red basic stones because our turn 1 plays involve black. These stones allow you to operate around the opponent playing Captain Hook too. This deck has several different gears it can change, depending on where you sit in the matchup. For the going first Mulligan, you're really looking to land Shara into Servant, into Ping, and then Tarot. That way that you can remove something on the board, you have a swinging 6/6 or 7/7 on turn 2, and you have 3 resonators in total. Alternatively, if you don't find the Tarot or the Servant, you still want to find the Shara, and then you'll keep a Nameless Mist, and then lead into turn 2 or 3 with Rinka. Purpose here is that you're still applying pressure and leading out with a very good high threat minion. Now, if you're going second, I would hard mulligan for a Shara or Nameless Mist into a Power Absorption into a Tarot. These cards are generally what you're looking for, whether you're going first or second, but I would still hard mulligan for a Shara and into Servant. To land 2 cards at 4 copies based on a 3-card mulligan, you're looking at about 20% chance, which is still pretty good. Additionally, you can still throw back pretty hard for a Nameless Mist and be assured to get it most of the time.